Rytis, I have a very simple question to you. Is the EuroLeague just another NBA these days? What is happening? What is this final score, 125 to 104, Monaco Basket? No, I'm not sure they're called Monaco Basket. AS Monaco beat Paris Basketball by a difference of 21 points, but more importantly, broke the scoring record in the EuroLeague with 125 points. Are we just heading towards these score boards, score types? I don't know what you call it, box scores. Is this where it's going?
You want to know if this is like the new normal?
I feel like we're getting closer to the NBA because we just increased the number of teams in the EuroLeague, and because of that, obviously there are more games, more double weeks, and I feel like teams are not treating every game as they used to, and maybe the offense is evolving a little bit. The pace is picking up, and we're getting into a bit more free-flowing basketball. I don't know.
Tighter schedule leads to teams playing to their own strengths rather than just scouting the opposition and preparing for every game individually. Because you have a very tight schedule, you have a lot of games. The fixture congestion is now very hard for any coach. You basically have no practices, just games. This is the NBA life.
Yeah, exactly. We used to say this about the NBA, and that was the standard for a while. But we always used to have, practices in between weeks for teams. I mean, obviously, domestic league games happen usually on the weekend, so at least you have the first half of the week until Thursday, Friday, when EuroLeague games used to happen. But since double weeks were introduced, I feel like, and since they have now multiplied by a couple in the last season at least, I feel like we're getting there. And this game between those two teams, I'm not sure how much of you've seen it, but Monaco in the first quarter had maybe 2 or 3 possessions where it went to under 10 seconds left in the shot clock. So both teams were taking the famous 7 seconds or less offense.
The Mike D'Antoni rule.
Yeah, that's exactly what was happening. I've seen, I don't know, one after another shots that are being put up with like 16 seconds on the shot clock. And obviously you expect that from Paris Basketball, but I was surprised that AS Monaco decided to play their game, sort of. I mean, they just played 2 days ago as well.
In the Cup.
Yeah. Against Paris, and they won also high-scoring game, both teams over 100 points. But they matched their pace, and they kind of even outran them. Although Paris had more looks, Monaco managed to score 20 points more. And it was a very much like an NBA-like game to watch, honestly. A lot of possessions, a lot of early shots.
Well, because of the reasons mentioned, and I said it last week in our Q&A episode, the slogan for EuroLeague needs to be changed. It has to be every game matters, sort of. First of all,
or every other game
the
matters.
Every other game matters. Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, the best teams in the first part of the regular season don't play to the full potential. You will never see 100% effort, let's say, from Panathinaikos on defense, unless there's a particular game like a Greek derby or something like that. They will just win because of their talent, the quality that they have, and they're not the only team that does these things. Like Real Madrid with their rotations, their teams as well. The best teams will never play the first part of the EuroLeague regular season to their full strength. That's just one thing. The second thing is that now we have more teams that play a specific brand of basketball, which is more similar to the NBA than the old school European way. Paris basketball is a prime example, but if you
the pioneers, I feel like.
Yeah, but well, they are also very unique because of how they do those hockey substitutions every 2 minutes.
Yesterday, actually, 7 minutes or 3 minutes into the game, first quarter, 5 players.
So it's just for them to just keep the pace for 40 minutes. The issue is that they do it regardless of the opposition. there are teams that they can just wear out in the 40-minute battle with their insane pace and crashing the glass, getting the offensive rebounds. There are teams that just cannot match their energy for 40 minutes. But when you play Monaco with the players they have in the perimeter, if you let Okobo, Mike James, or even Strazel play this type of game, they're going to get numbers. They're going to get easy shots, something that they usually don't get when they play Olympiacos or some other teams. And then you have other teams in this league like Maccabi, like Partizan, and some others that are more American than European, actually. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, naturally you have this change in basketball landscape, in the tendencies. You have more high-scoring games. You have more pace. It feels more like the NBA regular season at times. Whether it's good or bad, it's up to you to decide. But honestly, if we continue increasing the number of games, it's just going to be like this, even more. I don't blame the players and I don't blame the coaches. It's kind of normal. One thing about the NBA is when there is a blowout, well, let's say two teams, might be even good teams, but they play each other in the regular season. Take a random example, the New York Knicks against the Milwaukee Bucks. In the third quarter, there's a 23-point lead, and players know that they will have a back-to-back, or they will play in the next game in 48 hours somewhere in a different state, somewhere in Texas. Well, they just think like, okay, this one's lost. There's no point trying to make a comeback now, like waste your energy on this, even though you're going to lose probably anyway. Let's just focus on the next one and forget about it because we have 82 games in the regular season. We're going to have the same outcomes in Europe as well. When there is a 20-point lead, you still watch the game and sometimes you're expecting a big comeback. But maybe the players and the coaches are already thinking about the next game. And we're down 30 now. Who cares if it's going to end up 125 against 104? It's over. It's done.
In the EuroLeague, the only difference is that because we have less games, fewer games rather, you still kind of look at the point differential sometimes because you can be tied and there's a less...
But when it's a 30-point gap, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Do you honestly think these players, like Paris basketball players yesterday, do you honestly think they...
But it's the plus-minus, the total plus-minus is impacted by it.
Yeah, no, but do you think they're really... That's the mindset on the court?
Of course, that's probably not the main focal point, of course.
And we tend to forget one more really important thing. Most of the teams in the EuroLeague actually play in serious domestic leagues. It's not like they can rest on weekends. And I'm sorry to say that to our Lithuanian viewers, but there is just one club in the league that can actually do nothing on the weekend and just play at 20%.
You're talking about Žalgiris?
I'm obviously talking about the Lithuanian champions.
Okay.
Because look at the Spanish teams and their schedules. Sometimes you could even say they have not a double but a triple EuroLeague week because they play 2 EuroLeague games and then on Sunday you face Baskonia or you face Barcelona or
even for
else,
these two
Valencia.
teams, even for these two teams, they just played each other in the domestic league.
So French league is not easy. I know that rotations are different. I know that rich clubs can afford to have a couple of domestic players that they don't use in the EuroLeague, but they play 20 minutes then in the French league or Turkish league or Greek league. But there are still games that count. So in total, during the regular season, now you're going to play 38 EuroLeague games and something like 34 domestic league games.
Yeah.
So add the numbers.
It's NBA numbers.
It's almost NBA numbers.
Yeah. And also, just to continue on this idea of how many points they scored and where they came from. Of course, you're looking at Paris. They are having 108 possessions per game, which is by far the biggest number. Second place is Valencia with 103.5. And then you look at the scoring numbers generally, points per game. We have 3 teams over 90 points. We have three teams that are at 89 points, and then the next team, Crvena Zvezda, is at 87. I looked at historically how these stats compare. Last season, the highest scoring team was scoring just 87.6, so they wouldn't be top 6 this year. Then the season before that, it's just been going up and up and up. Season before that, that was Real Madrid, 89 points. Okay, sure. Then 86 by Baskonia. But point being that it's just going down. If you look at averages, that's probably the best way to look at it. Points per game averages from 2021-22 season, it was 76.8 in that season. And currently, that average is 85 points. So we're talking about an increase of 7 points. You look at the possessions as well, a stat that basically tells you how many times the team is having a possession in the game. 98.4 possessions this season compared to 93. So 5 possessions more on average. And there are still slow teams in this league who are putting those averages down. A lot of teams now are just playing much faster basketball. I'm not going to call it much better basketball, but more offense-oriented, more free-flowing. And I guess, the influence comes also from, in my eyes, a lot of influx of NBA players into the EuroLeague as well.
Every year the league is becoming more and more American because the majority of the players in this league by nationality are Americans. Most of them coming from G League or NBA backgrounds. And coaches need to adapt.
Yeah.
And some do, some don't. Some coaches survive, others don't. That's a different topic. But in conclusion, my final thing, what I want to say is that every game matters is kind of a smokescreen. It's a nice thing to say. It's always nice to take an example of a really good game that happened and say, look, this is the product. But I could do the same thing about the NBA. There are so many games in the regular season. And you just look at the scores, at the box scores, and you say, oh, the regular season is boring. But you can always find a good game and say, look, but this was awesome. This was like Jalen Brunson balling or Giannis being amazing in the clutch. It's just that this game drowns in the sea of the Washington Wizards and the Charlotte Hornets and all the others. But in EuroLeague is now actually the same thing. It's kind of obvious which teams are fighting for the home court advantage. Because that's the most important thing.
That's not necessarily
It's kind of
true.
obvious who's going to target the play-in, and it's kind of obvious which teams are not going to get anywhere.
But okay, yesterday Žalgiris lost against Maccabi, who were with 3 wins before that.
Right, but that win doesn't change anything for Maccabi. Because Maccabi is getting nowhere.
Bottom,
it hurts Žalgiris,
yeah.
So it's the same thing if Oklahoma are fighting for the first seed, and on a random night, the shots just don't go in, and they lose to Utah Jazz. Does it change Utah's season? No. Does it hurt Oklahoma a bit? Probably yes. The problem is that in EuroLeague, if you're a losing team, you're not being rewarded for losing.
No, that's the biggest problem.
Yeah, the NBA system runs on the draft and the trades and all the other things that they have. This is why your strategy might be to lose games this year. No team in Europe wants to lose. As well, they're losing because of the lack of quality and lack of funding, basically.
So my conclusion, you had your conclusion. My conclusion is that this 125-point record will be broken and will be broken soon. The way that it's going, I feel like there's going to be games, especially in the second half of the season, where we'll see even more of a difference between the top and the bottom teams, and the ones that won't be competing for anything, like Maccabi, let's say, who have one of the worst defenses in the league. I feel like they might concede more than 125.
But I'm just being honest, like Asvel, Baskonia, Bayern, Maccabi, they are competing for nothing right now.
Yeah.
They might win some games, but is there anyone in this world that can actually say, well, they might still get to playoffs or the play-in? No, they won't. They won't. It's still the first part of the season, but I can honestly say they won't.
We'll see.